Myself Vaibhav. In today's session of Visual Jforex, we will be continuing to work with the indicator balance of power. This is the second part of this series, and in today's setup, the focus is going to be on the building of the conditions for the execution of the buy trade using the block balance of power. So now let us head to the Visual Jforex board, which has been developed by the Dukascopy Bank SA. In the prior session, the instrument subscription was done where the instrument of choice is Euro USD. The position amount has been set at 0. Then I got these balance of power indicator blocks to look at the price action. And using this block, we can see on what side the trend is, whether it is bearish or bullish. And accordingly, we can set the conditions for the execution of the trade. We will be looking for the buy trade if we see that the underlying momentum is on the bullish side, and we will be looking for the sell trade if we see that the momentum is bearish. And to weed out the undue volatility, we are going to use multiple layering of the time frame. So these 4 hours and the 15-minute time frame will be used in conjunction to see the optimum levels and trade accordingly. The get historical candles are going to be used to look at the price volatility, and the execution is going to happen if we see that the immediate price momentum is also on the same side, that the price rise is there on 4 hourly as well as 15 minutes time frame prior to the execution of the buy trade. We'll also use these 10-second candles for the execution of the order. Pardon me. Now we go to the chart, and here I will change it to Euro USD. This is the hourly time frame. So for the buy side momentum to be visible, we need two conditions. First thing is that last 4 hourly candle should be showing the output value above 0. The balance of power output should be above 0, and two candlesticks back, that is 8 hours back, the momentum should have been on the bearish side. So we will be using the two blocks. One is of shift value 1 and another of shift value 2, and we will see that the balance of power block defined for the 4 hourly with the shift value of 2 should have been on the bearish side. And also I had looked into the possibility of continuing to trade on the bullish side for two candlesticks, that is the window for the execution of the buy trade can also be extended to 8 hours after the change of momentum. And for that we will need to change the shift value to 3 from 2, and after changing that, I think we can define the conditions which will give us the 8-hour time window for the execution of the buy trade. So I think that will be more appropriate. So I will change this to 3, and now we head back to the charting. So the last 4 hourly candle should have output value above 0 for the buy trade, and third candle should have bearish values. So I think somewhere here it will be conducive for the execution of the buy trade after the closure of these last 4 hourly candle. And if we see that currently also momentum is bullish, if we see that on the 15-minute time frame the balance of power output value is above 0, we can look for the initiation of the trade. And here also the condition is going to be similar, that the penultimate candle should have closed on the lower side, that balance of power output was below 0, And if these conditions are satisfied along with the 4 hourly requirement, then I think we can go for the trade. And one more addition can be done on the price action front. We will also require that there should be good enough momentum. So for that, the condition is going to be that last 15 minutes candle closing value should be above its opening value, and not only that, even it should be above the penultimate candle's opening value. Suppose let us check this value at 11 GMT. So on 11 GMT, you can see that the momentum has shifted, and BOP is now getting the output above zero, but there is not much of an price momentum, and it is still on the bearish side if we consider its price formation. And to weed out such kind of trades, I think what we can do is we also take into consideration the penultimate candle's opening value, and last candle closing value on the 15-minute time frame should be above the penultimate candle's opening value. So that way we will make sure that there has been enough of momentum immediately prior to the execution of the trade. So now we have to bring in one more 15 minutes historical candle. So I will have to take the component info, get historical candle, and candle period will be 15 minutes, shift value of 2. Now we will start defining the conditions which need to be in place prior to the execution of the buy trade. And for that, I will take the logical blocks, and then using these if else statements, we will define the conditions. So here this balance of power. For the buy trade, the last 4 hourly balance of power should be above 0, and first input greater than second input, and balance of power 15 should have been below 0. So first input less than second input. Then we also want to make sure that price action is also showing the bullish momentum. So here we will use candle 18's closing and opening values, and its closing value should be above the opening value. Auto created candle 18, its close, open, and first input greater than second input. On the 15 minutes time frame also, we want candle 19's closing value to be above its opening value. So first input again greater than second input. And As I had explained to you on the chart, we want the 15 minutes, last 15 minutes candle closing value to be above the penultimate 15 minutes candle opening value. So we will have to compare the candle 24's opening price with the candle 19's closing price. And for that, okay, so here also we will need first input greater than second input. So all the conditions which we have defined so far are in the formation of first input greater than second input. Now we also have to look at the balance of power output values on the lower time frame of 15 minutes, and here also we want the change in momentum, and for that again we will have to take into consideration these VOP16 and VOP17 values, and I will bring in one more block. I think we will need 4 in all. So now VOP16 this should be above 0. First input greater than second input. And VOP17 should be below 0. Now we have the condition that first input is less than second input. Okay, so we have taken into consideration the price action as well as the balance of power output values generated on the 4-hourly time frame as well as 15 minutes time frame, and then we need to define the execution point, and which is going to be whenever the price starts to rise above the last 15 minutes candle closing value. And for that we will need to compare the candle 19, candle 20 and candle 21's closing values, and for that I will take candle 19's closing value as the second input in both these blocks, and then I will bring in candle 20 and candle 21, which are 10-second candles. So here we take candle 21 close should be below, so first input less than, and candle 20's close should be above candle 19's close, so first input greater than second input, and then we bring in the trading block of open at market. So in this case we will be going for the execution of the order straight away. It won't be a pending order. So as soon as conditions are fulfilled, the execution for the buy side will happen. First input greater than second input. Then remains the question of defining these input parameters. Oh, I think here I mistakenly removed. We will keep the default instrument. Trade amount, you can change it as per the equity of your account. 0.1 million I'm keeping just for example. Slippage, default slippage is 5 pips, 2 pips I think should be good enough. Now the question of stop loss and take profit. We will deal with this two parameters in next session, whether to keep it static with fixed values in a predefined ratio of say for example 1 is to 2, just as the case is currently, where the stop loss is of 25 pips and take profit is of 50 pips, giving us the risk reward ratio of 1 is to 2. But given the fact that we have defined the setup on the 15 minutes time frame, I think these values will be too wide to keep as stop loss and take profit. So instead of that, we will keep the values pretty close, fairly sharp. And for that, we will have to wait till next session. And before I sign off, I would also like to arrange the blocks in a more aesthetic way, and also that will make it more easier to understand what condition is followed by what. For the time being, we will join this multiple action, and then all in all, we need 9 conditions to be fulfilled for the execution of the buy trade. And also we will color code this just to make sure the trade flow is passing through as it should be. Yes, so for the time being, we will be stopping here and we will resume the construction of the sell side algorithm tomorrow. Till then, have a fabulous time ahead. Thank you all for joining in. Goodbye.